What's up, hackers? Welcome back to another episode of Hack Crypto, where we hack everything Web3 education here. And if you guys are brand new here, slap a like on this video if you like Web3 gaming and hit that notification bell to get notified when new videos drop. Now, in this episode, I'm going to be going over the top 5 Web3 games currently that are across multiple different networks. But I have met the teams. Place that I am going to measure this is DAP Radar. If you aren't familiar with DAP Radar, the mechanism there is a token called Radar, and what it does is allows for the top projects to allow their community to boost their listing. So it's kind of like a CoinMarketCap listing of an index that goes through all the different games with a bunch of different blockchains like Polygon, Ethereum, EOS, and many different ones like Ronin. And there are ways that the community can go on there and support these projects by boosting it with their token, which is a brilliant way of gamifying an index. And it basically allows for the communities to produce that additional score because the biggest boosted projects are the ones with the biggest communities. So the first one I want to go over is Star Atlas. I got a chance to meet Michael Wagner. There is an interview on the channel with him before Star Atlas really went live and was out there before their big trailers released. And they've built an incredible community on their platform. So this is built on Solana, and it is a virtual gaming metaverse on the Solana blockchain with Unreal Engine 5, real-time graphics, multiplayer, and decentralized financial technologies. What that means is that they have their own DAO and their own token, an Atlas token and a Polis token. Back when I interviewed Michael, it was kind of funny to hear him talk about all these different mechanisms, and it was cool to see his vision for it. And seeing it come together really has been fun to follow. And I followed him over the years, followed the project over the years, and it's been really cool to see this transform into a full-blown game. And a lot of people talk about this game on a regular basis. Currently, Solana Breakpoint is going on, and there are a lot of developers that have been talking about this game, and it is the most popular game by far on the Solana network. So I want to go through their 30-day metrics here so you guys can get a gauge for how big this game is relative to the overall gaming space. The unique active wallet is in the last 30 days. At the time of recording, this is the end of October. So October 2023 is what we're going to use here. Last 30 days, so all of October, 16,000 wallets, so up 10%, and 51 million transactions, up over 700%. And that's over the 30 day, so month on month growth. So over 700% growth with 51 million transactions. Volume in the last 30 days is only $64,000. And then there's a balance on the contract that is 2,000, but that's just, kind of probably people sending accidentally to the contract. But I really like that they have built this on an ecosystem where there was just an enormous amount of activity, a ton of developers building. And I was in Lisbon last year during Web Summit, and Breakpoint was right after that. And seeing all the Solana developers come from all over the world was pretty cool. And I'm really impressed by their growth so far and just how well the Atlas token and the DAO with the Polis token to govern the ecosystem have come together. And it's fun to see how this has really come true. Next one is Upland. And this one is from Dirk. I've met Dirk a dozen times. I did the first interview ever with Upland. And we met in Vegas, I believe, right before they went live. And this is a fantastic mobile first game. And I've always really enjoyed Dirk. He's also doing OMA 3, which is the open metaverse. And that is like a foundation to really help move the adoption of metaverse forward and get some framework in place. And I've hung out with Dirk multiple times. We've chatted in New York City multiple times, and a fantastic entrepreneur and really great game overall. They're built on EOS. They just closed a round from the EOS Foundation again. And it's fun to see them still thriving. Like, they've been around for quite a while, multiple years, and they're boosted by 150,000 of the Radar token, which implies the community came in and is supporting them. And the description here is that it's a leading blockchain metaverse designed to rebuild the world, giving players and businesses a new way to play, earn real value, and connect. So in a nutshell, if I go to Upland on my phone, I can buy pieces of virtual real estate that are basically mimicking in real life. So if San Francisco is the place where I want to go buy some real estate, I could go into Upland and buy the Transamerica Tower or the Salesforce Tower or something like that. And it's a very cool way of looking at this, because I kind of view this as gamifying the world around you, and you can have some fun in the virtual experience and even travel there in the IRL experience. Last 30 days, 87,000 unique wallets have jumped in to Upland, 5.8 million transactions in the last 30 days. And they're clocking no volume on here, mainly because I believe that it settles on the chain after things have gone on. Like the front end isn't necessarily Web3, but the back end is very much how a good game is built out, because the user experience is paramount. And then the balance on the contract, I believe, is 3,000 USD. So built on EOS. I remember at one point, Dirk was telling me that they were literally bogging down EOS because it was such a high volume game in the early days. And I'm glad to see that they've made some adjustments and they figured it out and really been able to scale beyond the capabilities of EOS, because there was a ton of problems with EOS many years ago. For people that have been following the channel for a few years now, you know that there was just crazy things going on with people gamifying rewards, not in Upland, but just on the EOS blockchain. It was just a mess. Next up, we have Splinterlands. I've met Agro, the lead developer there, a handful of times at a bunch of different conferences, and they're on 3 blockchains now: Hive, Wax, and BNB. Now, as a quick throwback story here, when I was chatting with Agro about the initial chain that they were on, which was Steam, back in the day, we talked through what was going on with the Justin Sun situation, where they acquired Steam. And what happened was the community split off and said, we're not for purchase. And they effectively built their own chain, Hive. And Agro rebuilt all of the tools that he had built himself for Steam just to power Splinterlands. And just so you guys understand how big of a deal that is, basically they spun out a whole new network and recreated every single on-ramp that Steam had for this other network. The community basically ported over, jumped over to it, and Steam I haven't heard anything about for many years. It collapsed effectively because the community jumped over to Hive because it was so vibrant. It was actually very decentralized, and they jumped over. And I think that's what Justin Sun was not expecting when he acquired that network. And I believe it was Steam was what he acquired, which was like the social network. It was like a tokenized Reddit. But anyways, Splinterlands is boosted by 37,000 Radar tokens, and Agro and team have been at this for a long time. I first met him in New York City at NFT NYC when Ken Bozak introduced me. And it was such a cool experience because it's like a trading card collectible game. And I'm a big fan of Wax, have been for many years. My man Crypto Stash is a big fan of Wax as well. It is just a true gamer chain because it's these, Tops partnered with them early on, and a lot of really cool brands partnered with them. And I really saw Splinterlands take off on Wax. And now that they're across 3 different chains, it's cool to see that they're still pumping just tens and hundreds of thousands of people on their networks. So the description on here is that it's a collectible trading card game, and they are still putting up incredible numbers here. 118,000 unique wallets in the last 30 days, 12.4 million transactions in the last 30 days. Volume is about 7,200, and the balance is 30K in their contract. So really cool to see that Splinterlands is still kicking. They're still around. They're still in the top slots, and they've crushed it. Like, they're just not going away, and they are going to stick to these chains. I love that they're on Hive and Wax. BNB, so, but I think that it's very exciting to see that they have a token as well, the SPS token, and I'm just glad to know Agrode and glad to know that he's crushing it on the game still to this day. And shout out to Agrode and Ken Bozak, all of the OG Splinterland players and influencers. Next up, we have Axi Infinity. Now, Axi Infinity is across two different chains. Ethereum was where they started, and Ronin was their own network that they launched. If you guys have probably heard of Axi Infinity because it blew up big time in like 2020, 2021, and everybody was talking about guilds. People were creating their own guilds where they were hiring people to play this game all day and reap some rewards from it. And it was really a phenomenon, basically. And I got a chance to meet Jihos in New York City at NFT NYC in 2019/2020. It was kind of like a break year there, right before COVID started kicking off. And it was really fun to kind of witness when he was going around passing out stickers. I still have my original Axi Infinity stickers. He was passing them around at NFT NYC. Brilliant guy. I believe he was from Yale, and he was just all over talking about gaming and talking about his Axi Infinity vision. And seeing that really transpire over the last few years was really fantastic. Like witnessing how he sparked basically a phenomenon in the Philippines where people were able to do this for a full-time income. And people I remember meeting at a rooftop bar at the CyberKong's Gorilla Party. It was like they were talking about how they had structured their guilds that had hundreds of different people in it playing around the clock. And they had invested in these different axes that people could use in the game. And it was incredible. I learned so much about different guilds at that rooftop party in New York City at the CyberKong's event. It was fantastic learning all these things. So the numbers here are pretty incredible because they have a massive community. 2.9 million radar tokens are boosting Axi Infinity on DappRadar. 30-day numbers are 58,000 unique wallets, 1.2 million transactions. The volume in US dollars here, ladies and gentlemen, is 27 million US dollars equivalent. And then the balance is 684 million. They have made hundreds of millions of dollars. And Sky Mavis is the name of their development company. Fantastic job that they've done. But these are huge numbers for the space. And they have consistently pushed these numbers every month. I've followed them for a long time, ever since I got a chance to meet them in New York City briefly. And they have two tokens, SLP and AXS. So Axi Infinity is the AXS token, and the SLP is the kind of like a potion or mana in the game that you can earn throughout it. So beautifully designed game, transformed the play to earn space, basically coined the phrase, and really just changed the game. Totally changed the game with play to earn. And much respect to them, and the fact that they launched Ronin, their own network, was a huge move. Have Alien Worlds. Now, I had a chance to meet Sarah briefly at the New York City event where OMA 3 first met and convened, where it was like Sandbox was there, Dapper Labs was there, Dirk from the Upland game was there. There were a ton of awesome entrepreneurs there, and Alien Worlds was one of them. I was fortunate enough at my previous company, Grow Your Base, where we invested very early on in Alien Worlds, and it did very well. It was so fun to witness this, and it is a metaverse where everything is tokenized. They have different planets, and you can kind of go around to all the different planets and play around because it's, different worlds. And they have still executed flawlessly on the amount of volume and the amount of players and transactions. This is probably one of the most impressive ones that I've seen in many, many years. And having met them personally in New York City, along with these other projects, it's so cool to have met all of these sort of big projects. But this one across Wax was really where they started, and then BNB Chain. They're boosted by 161,000 radar by their community. In the last 30 days, the metrics here are 163,000 unique wallets, 252 million transactions, 3.3 million US dollar volume equivalent, and then 1.9 million in balance. So to put that into perspective, Axi Infinity was doing 1.2 million transactions, and Alien Worlds is doing 252 million transactions. So 100 times more transactions than Axi Infinity, the most well-known play-to-earn game out there. Incredible amount of transactions taking place on chain here. And, 3.3 million is huge in terms of the US dollar equivalent. Their token is called TLM, and they are an incredible game, incredible ecosystem. Lastly, I have to bonus with Sandbox. They're boosted by 8,600 radar. They're across 2 different chains, Polygon and Ethereum. And the last 30 days, they have 12,000 unique wallets, 14,000 transactions, 2.3 million in USD value volume, and their balance is 28 million. Their token is, of course, Sand. And this is definitely one of my favorites, if not my favorite, because of the level of volume that they've always been able to produce and bringing people into the space through brands and IPs that they're partnering with. So they've taken a very unique approach to this that gaming has really always been good at, which is partnering and licensing IPs, bringing them in to their environments and having those fans and that community come in. It's a beautiful way of architecting how you can do mass adoption. To recap, Star Atlas on Solana, the Upland project on EOS, Splinterlands on Wax, Hive, and BNB, Axi Infinity on Ronin, their own network that they launched, and also Ethereum, where they kicked off initially, and then Alien Worlds across Wax and BNB. So these are multi-chain games where people can come in from these different networks, and ultimately what they're doing is they're triggering mass adoption. I maintain that gaming is where mass adoption starts. And if you guys are interested in learning more about how these work, all the different metrics that I talked about, the link will be in the description below to all of these on DappRadar. And shout out to DappRadar for still having the amazing metrics that they do, all on chain, pulling from dozens of different networks and allowing people to really explore this. And I like the boosted feature because it shows that metric that can't really be tracked easily, which is community. And being able to push that is really impressive. And that's how they've done their token. But that is it for my overview and a bonus with Sandbox at the end there. All the numbers and all of the links will be in the description below. Slap a like on this video if you like everything gaming, and I will see you guys here on the next episode of Hack Crypto.